Okay, I'm at 2658 Vanderen Drive in Lakeside Park, Kentucky. Doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. Looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that would be a concern for the buyer. Our access location is a rear center stack. It's right inside the garage door from the outside. There's also a floor clean out right outside there. I believe that's just for the drain. It's probably got a trap in it or something to prevent the smell from getting out. But you can see here is the exterior, the garage door, and the stack is right here. Stack is cast iron. Doesn't look too bad. Still looks like it's pretty thick. It's got some rust, surface rust in the packing. A little bit around the where the copper comes down from the top. It's a little rough, but the house was built in the 50s, so it's fairly old. We'll go ahead and take a look at all the cast iron. Everything in the house comes down this stack, and so we have a little bit of that white stuff down there. Ah!
Was that downstairs?
I hope so. Yes, that was downstairs. Sorry about that. I thought somebody flushed the toilet possibly upstairs. And it would have come out of the pipe. But the white stuff on the ground is grease. A little thin layer of grease from where they put where the kitchen is tied in above us, that's all. So it looks like this goes over into PVC, and there is a PVC clean out. And so we'll take a look at this on the way back and see where that PVC, where that clean out is, because there is actually two. There's one up on the side, and then there's this one, the one next to the area drain right outside the garage that may be something that's for either the drain or that could be this clean out. So we'll check that in a second. Good news is it looks like the line has been replaced. Originally this would have been clay, most likely, based off the video. So either clay or concrete in that area. Looks like the line has been completely replaced. Now, there's a sewer main that runs right down the left side of the house if you're facing the house. And we're not sure if it's where it's tied in, if it's tied in closer to the rear. It just goes out the side and ties in. Looks like we are going over into, went from Schedule 40 PVC, the white stuff, over to SDR 35, which is the green exterior stuff, which usually indicates getting a little bit closer to the main here. And that's probably what that is. We can't really see what's going on. It looks like there's a, I don't know if that's the main, or if there's an offset there. But I'm going to have to pause the video here, get a locate, and see exactly where this is. So, again, pause the video. Okay, based off the locate, I should be right at the main, but it's hard to see if there's an offset there or if I'm going in at the flow line. So I'm going to pull back. I'm going to try to put a little standoff on the camera. See if we can see anything, because it looks like I'm just going into the main. You can see the fitting. So I can't tell if the fitting is offset. I'm going to try to put a standoff on the camera, but the line up to that point looks wonderful, and if that is an offset, it's a tap issue, and that would be the responsibility of SD1 or the sewer department. But I'm going to have to pull the camera all the way back to try to put a little piece on the front to see if we can raise the camera lens up a little bit, but up to that point, everything looked wonderful. It was perfect. So hopefully we'll be able to see a little something more with that attachment. So I'm going to pause the video for a second so we can make that addition. Alright, so we got the little attachment on the front of the camera. So hopefully this will give us a little bit better visual of what is going on there. Even the cast iron looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's pretty wide open. So I do want to open up the cleanouts to see which one this goes through, but I think it goes through the one right here in the driveway. I don't think it goes through next to it. There's also a white PVC cleanout that's above that's on the side of the retaining wall there. It looks like it's just for the discharge for the storm, for the sump discharge. Basically, it should be their responsibility. Any of those green SDR pipes should be their responsibility. I'm still up against something here. I don't know what that is. It's the offset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the camera sit here. We're going to pause it and we're going to start running some water. Hopefully, the more water, it'll thin anything that's floating in that water out and clear it up, and then we'll be able to see what's underneath the water once it settles. Okay, now that we got that water running through there, you can see how it's kind of cleared up visual, and it's going to let me know real quick what this is. And I kind of think that the pipe is coming up. There's a vertical pipe that is going to have to let this settle again, but we're going to take some still images. This is going to have to be forwarded to the Metropolitan Sewer District. It looks like the vertical is poked through into the flow line. And this could cause backups. This could catch solids. It looks like the fitting has failed, and the vertical line has protruded up into the horizontal. This is dropping straight into the top of the main. And so my camera won't go any further, but it really doesn't have to. I've done the locate, and this is right on top of the sewer main. So we'll try to give it a second, let it clear out. I'm going to take a couple still images. That way they can be, this can all be forwarded to the sewer district if necessary. And so yeah, you can see how the fitting is, the curvature of the fitting at the bottom of it is, the vertical should have stopped, but the fitting is broke and allowed the protrusion of that line up into the horizontal. And this is where it's dropping right off into the main. And so I will get a locate just so that they have a mark on it. Right up next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this spot just so they know where it is, but pretty evident that we're right on top of the main. So I'm going to pause the video and get that locate. Okay, this is right on top of the main, 6 foot deep. Okay, I may have already mentioned that, but you see how it's protruding up through there. I'm going to get a still image here, and then I'll get a still image pulled back a little bit. And then we'll pull back just a hair so we can get a good look at that. Kind of show what's going on. See how that's broke. Obviously holding water. But that is the 90 that drops down into the main. And so you can see the fittings broke on either side. Trying to let that settle down for a minute. I think that's clear enough to get another still image. But this is definitely right on top of the main. Okay. Maybe we can get, yeah, this doesn't really do it any justice, but can't really tell what's going on from there. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish pulling back, but yeah. Bad thing is the line looks perfect until 52 feet, and then you have that issue right at the tab. So the good news is that it will have to be repaired by the supervisor. Their tab essentially is protruding up through the lateral. It is marked with green paint and the green plastic. Stop when I get to that clean out and pause and get another look just to verify which clean out is actually under. There we go. Push it out of there, and I'm going to pause the video and check this location. Alright, so this is the clean out in the driveway. It goes underneath that area, that box drain. The box drain looks like it goes over and goes into that other PVC clean out on top of the retaining wall there. And so there's also a storm main that runs parallel to the sanitary main. Obviously the sanitary is all your bathrooms and kitchen and everything, and the storm is just what it sounds like. But there are two mains that run right down the side of the house. There's a manhole in the backyard, you can see that. That is the sanitary line, that's the sewer, and so you can see the flag and everything is pretty close to that, but that's where the tap comes in, and so it's going to have to be reported to SD1. The good news is that the whole line up to that 51 foot mark looked great. It looks like the storm is tied in separately and runs out to a separate storm main down the side, so that's also good news. I may have to replace this cap here. It doesn't look like it was the right part for the job, so I may have to end up having to put something else in it. But anyway, the line looked great. I didn't see any issues at all with most of the lateral until we hit that 52-foot mark, and that should be reported to the sewer district and repaired. I would think before occupancy, but we don't know how long that'll take. But you will want to report that to them so that they can take it. So that they can get that repaired as soon as possible. But other than that, the line looked wonderful all the way up to that point. So nothing for the homeowner to worry about. There is a little bit of cast iron, which I always want to note with cast iron. Have a higher tendency to have soft clogs, meaning, you know, excessive toilet paper, wet wipes, those kind of things can cause backups a little bit easier in cast iron because of how rough the interior of the pipe is. But this looked really open. There's not a whole lot of cast iron before it switches to PVC where it exits the house, so that's good too. But just something to note that yeah, never use wet wipes in any sewer, but it's a little more important in these cast iron ones. But yeah, line's been replaced with PVC. Everything is good except for the tap. So that's going to end the inspection at 2658 Vanderen Drive in Lakeside Park, Kentucky.